Thank you all very, very much for coming to this this wonderful event. 75 years of Coralville Central is definitely something hard to imagine, especially from a guy that's been here 18 years or so. Yeah, thanks. So anyway, we'll have some speakers talk today and everything. I'm on time. Oh, I thought Mr. O'Leary's already given me the hook to get my time is up already. So, no. He kindly asked if you have your phone on to please turn it on silent, I guess. If you do. Anyway, so I'm better spoken with groups of preschoolers to 5th grade. So if I stumble a little bit here, just understand that you're not my normal audience, but that's all right. We'll get going on here. So, wow. I did not have any idea what to expect from today and what was going to happen. But obviously, I can see now what is happening and what Coralville Central means to not only the present, but the past and obviously the future of Coralville Central. So this is something that I did not expect to see here at Coralville Central today. I'm truly honored to be the person that is talking to you first today and at the end, of course, as well. This is unbelievable. I recognize so many faces of people that I taught, of people I worked with. Oh, by the way, my name's Andy Gann. I'm the principal here at Coralville Central. I guess I didn't say that part. I'll tell a little bit about myself down the road, but no, there's a lot of recognizable faces and everything else. I'm sure glad that a lot of the students, though, have name tags on because as you grow, I recognize your parents, but sometimes I recognize you, but forget your names and everything else. But welcome back to Coralville Central, everybody that's been a part of it. I would like to thank a few people as we before we start passing the mic here. First, the many volunteers that put this thing together today. It's an unbelievable, obviously, event that has, yes. It's been 75 years in the making, and I think that we got it done, and we, meaning these volunteers, Mrs. Crone, Mrs. Ferguson, Rex Brandstatter, the city of Coralville, the Coralville Central PTO, the teacher, staff, and students, and many, many more that put this thing together today. The one person, though, that we have to thank the most is our resident Coralville Central historian, Jerry Murphy, standing in the corner. Jerry was a longtime custodian here at Coralville Central, but fell in love with the building and the students and the staff throughout the whole year, mainly because of his love for history and what happens with what has happened in the past. And boy, if you want to know anything about Coralville, if Rex doesn't know it, Jerry's going to know it, and get those two in a room together, and good night, Irene. You're going to be there for a while. So. But Jerry really was the guy that came to me about a year ago, maybe a little longer than that. Actually, he came to me when he still worked here, which was right before COVID. So what was it, 2019, I think he retired, 2020-ish. He's like, we got to set this 75th anniversary up. I'm like, Jerry, dude, that's like 5 years from now. I don't even know if I'll even be around here. And sure enough, here we sit, and it is organized, and we'll see how the day goes. So Jerry Murphy, again, I can't thank you enough for not only what you have done for this today, but for all the things. I mean, you're looking at the students when I said your name and how they applauded for you. I mean, the former students, because they know that in the lunchroom, Jerry's doing magic tricks with kids. He's pulling kids aside. He's doing things with the kids that are totally behind the scenes, just like this event was or is for him behind the scenes. But now it's in the open, Jerry. It's because of you. Thank you very much. We have a lot of special guests here today that we'd like to recognize. Mary and Rick Bishop are here, the family of Stanley Bishop, who was a longtime principal here years and years ago. So the order goes Mr. Bishop, Mr. O'Leary, Miss MJ, and now me. So there's lots of years of people standing up here. Thank the former principals here as well. They'll make some remarks later in the program. Mrs. Perry is here, I think, somewhere. Coming from California, maybe? Yeah. here somewhere, all the way from California. And I think we have Sherry Bowers Nicola is here, right? Is that true? Sherry here? Maybe not. I was told she might be here, but she was a student here. Started in kindergarten in 1952 and graduated here in the 8th grade in 1961. So if she's here or coming in a little bit, thank you, Sherry, for being here. We do have an empty chair at the end for Mrs. Calloway. Some of us remember Mrs. Calloway, who was a long-time PE teacher in the Iowa City Community School District, more importantly here at Coralville Central. She did miles and miles of things for us here at Coralville Central, like the Mileage Club and everything else down the road. She unfortunately passed away a few years back and would have loved to have been at this event in a gym that she actually helped create and build and design back when this gym was put on. And Mr. O'Leary probably would know better than I would, 99 or somewhere around there. So, long time ago. So, we just hope Miss Calloway is looking down on us and is very proud of all the people that have entered into this gym today to celebrate the 75th year. So we have a chair in the end for Miss Calloway. And I think now, without any further ado, we'll start with, we're going to start with you, Mayor Foster. Mayor Foster from the city of Coralville.
Well, thank you, everyone, and good afternoon. So happy that you are here with us today. As Principal Gann said, my name is Megan Foster, and I have the honor of serving as the mayor of the city of Coralville. And in addition to that, I am a longtime Coralville Central parent. So I have 5 children, and all 5 of my children are Coralville Central alumni. And in fact, I had children at this school for 18 consecutive years. I am not joking. Yes. Yes. 18 consecutive years, and I gotta tell you, it would have been 19 if the 6th graders hadn't moved on to Northwest, because my youngest son graduated from Coralville Central as a 5th grader earlier this spring. So 18 years though, I sometimes wonder if that is some kind of a record. Maybe Jerry knows. Maybe let's establish it as a record. Okay. Well, you know, being in and out of a school for 18 years, you know, you see a lot of things change. And the one thing, though, that never changed about Coralville Central was the fact that the staff, the volunteers, the PTO was and is amazing. And that was, you know, that's what really makes this school so special. And I got to tell you that for 18 years, I sent my 5 kids through the doors of this school every morning. And every morning when I did that, I knew that they were going to be loved, they were going to be cared for. There were teachers, staff, volunteers looking out for them, and they were going to get a great education on top of all of that. And I look around this room and I see how many people are here. And again, as Mr. Gann said, it is a testament to how much this school means to this community, to see all of you here today. So thank you all for being here, and thank you again to the amazing staff, the amazing teachers, all of the staff that works at this school. You know, it is not an easy time to be in public education right now. Public education it's a rough time. I'll just leave it at that. And so I want to make sure that all of you know how much you are appreciated, all of the teachers, everybody that works at this school. You know, you are touching the future, and we appreciate absolutely everything you do for our children and for this community. So with that, I am going to read a proclamation that I read at our most recent city council meeting, and I am going to try to do it this time without choking up. I got a little teary-eyed as I was reading it during the meeting. So I will keep it together today, I promise. Okay. Whereas Coralville Central has been an integral part of welcoming and nurturing students and families in our community for 7.5 decades. And whereas when Coralville's population began to grow in the 1940s, an increase in school attendance necessitated a larger school. And whereas construction of Coralville Central began in 1948 in Coralville Heights, following special elections in 1945 and 1948 to approve a bond for a new school. And whereas the school known as Coralville Elementary, and now known as Coralville Central Elementary, opened its doors to the students of Coralville in 1949. And whereas students, teachers, families, staff, and friends have attended this school for 75 years. And whereas Coralville Central is the oldest public elementary school in Coralville, and whereas generations of students from Coralville Central have visited City Hall, the Coralville Police Department, and the Coralville Fire Department to learn about city government. And whereas Coralville Central has been a partner with programs throughout the Coralville Parks and Recreation Department and the Coralville Public Library. And whereas today Coralville Central embarks on year 76, brimming with enthusiasm, as shown by the perpetual dedicated teachers, staff, and volunteers. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Megan Foster, Mayor of the City of Coralville, do hereby appreciate and recognize Coralville Central Elementary for the outstanding education provided for 75 years. The city and the people of Coralville say happy birthday. Signed on the 8th day of October, 2024, Megan Foster, Mayor. So thank you again, everyone, for being here, and I hope you enjoy the time you get to tour the school, look around, and see how things have changed. It really is remarkable. Okay, thank you. Let's do it again.
Thank you, Mayor Foster, and obviously the City of Coralville. I mean, they're excellent partners with us, have been for over all the years that we've been together, and so we can't wait for many, many more. So thank you, Mayor Foster, and all you do for us here at Coralville Central as well. Not only as a mother, but as the mayor, so thank you. Now I'd like to introduce Mr. Rex Brandstetter to come up and give a little history of the clock starts now. Rex Brandstetter, everybody.
That's not the first warning I've been given about being shorter with the speech from anybody. Thank you so much for coming. My pleasure to be here. I served a 10-year sentence here from 1954 to 1964. And the kindergarten was around the corner, and then they built what we call the new addition. It was built in 1959, and that became 7th, 8th, and 9th. So I went kindergarten through 9th, went on this, started this end of the building, got run out of that end of the building. So my pleasure to have been a student here. And as I look around the crowd, so many of us have so many different snippets of history and our experiences here at Coralville Elementary in my day, now Coralville Central. When we merged with Iowa City School District in a contentious election in 1964, we became Coralville Central. So let's take a look at this thing. And my little notes here say this. They say, a new school for Coralville. Land was donated, and the little town had a need for a school. But wait, it wasn't this school. Where was it? It was right around the corner on 5th Street down here. What do we call it today? We call it the old school. Well, right after the Coralville got here because of the dam down there. No two ways. We got here because of the dam down there. And then people were working at the dam, the flour mill, the paper mill, the grist mill. And they brought the land was cheaper out here, but it flooded, so it was hard to develop out here until 1923. Never mind. And so we started to have kids. So the old school was the second location. The first location was across the street and a little bit to the east, at the bottom of the hill of the Hug family residence. You know where that is? Right down at the bottom of the hill. That we think we've found the real location of that building down there. And that would have been in 1843, just shortly after the Alamo. It was 1837, 1838. That's how long the kids have been in Coralville looking for an education. So Ezekiel Clark, who was one of the founders of Coralville, donated to Coralville, not even to Coralville, but for a school, the land at the old school. And what did they proceed to do on that spot down there? They proceeded to build a two-room school. Everybody had a one-room school. I don't know what kind of got into them, but they built a two-room school, which is, there it sits right now. And that school opened in when? What's it say right on the side of the building? 1876. You know, a few years after the Civil War, for God's sakes. And that was the school for the kids in Coralville until 1949 when they came up here. So I wasn't good in math class in any grade, clear through college, but we're going to call that 75 years. So for the first 75 years, we were in the old school. For the next 75 years, we've been right aquí. Wow, that's 150 years of education in Coralville within 2 blocks. And might I say this, when the Coralville School decided to come up here in the bond issues that the mayor talked about, that was contentious. After the war, what was happening? Soldiers were coming home. They wanted to get married and start a family. Hopefully in that order. I'm not sure. So they came home to start a family, and there were going to be kids. That was in all the papers. There's going to be kids. Baby boom. But some people said, "Wait a minute. That's been our school for 75 years. That's good enough." That didn't work out too good. So they voted in a $106,000 bond issue to build. This wasn't part of it. The gym wasn't, the lunchroom wasn't even part of it. And of course the school board, they did not get reelected the next time because they spent too much money. In 1952 they had to build on because it was too small. So like a 2-year gap there that they kind of got kicked in the butt, but then came back. We needed a better school. We need a bigger school, not better, bigger. We've always had good education in Coralville, bar none. Zero, no contentions, no arguments about it. 2 teachers came from the old school, Mrs. Dunn, Mr. Hughes, and I haven't confirmed, I think Mrs. Lucina came here too. And those are all schools. And part of their contract down there was to stoke the fire, shovel the snow, and make sure the doors to the outhouse were locked at night. So coming up here was a big win for them. We had indoor plumbing and heat, you know, things like that. Coralville Central Coralville Elementary became the central of the town. Everything was the central town happened at Coralville School. And might I add, in the 10 years, and each and every one of you before, back then, we walked to school. We walked, there's Ted Carpenter, he lived right out the front door. You have no reason ever to have been late to a class. You live right there. The Halversons, the Bontraggers, the Putnam, all that. We all lived real close. There were no buses brought anybody to school because everybody was here. I don't know what the state law was at the time, but you just walked to school. You walked to school in the morning, you walked home for lunch. You walked home, you walked back in the afternoon, you walked home at night. Elementary, after they built the junior high, the elementary kids got out at, I think, 3:45 or 3:50, so they could get a head start so the big kids wouldn't beat them up. That was the logic, probably fair logic, but that really probably didn't happen. But that is true. That's what happened. Well, the new addition came to us in 1959, and with the new addition came junior high, because Coralville all along that period of time only went kindergarten. They didn't even have kindergarten for a while. We'll call it kindergarten through 8. That's it. And after that, remember the state law says you only had to go to 8th grade, so some of them only went to 8th grade. But after that, you had three choices up until 1959, and just starting in 59, Regina was built in 59. Most Coralville kids went to U-High, University High School, which is right north of the Iowa Memorial Union down there. That's where most kids went. 1903, we had an interesting thing in 1903. The Krandic was here. They put the interurban in town, so now Coralville kids could get on the train down by the dam, down in front of the Kosher store, and ride the train around the bend to right about where the Memorial Union is. They let the U-High kids off. They go to school, get on the train, and come home. That's what kids had to do to get an education. But the fact remains this, is that they all started right here in Coralville and got a wonderful education up to this day. We had great teachers back then. We have great teachers now, and we're still going. Now we're poised for the next 75 years. Mr. Gann will probably be here more. An interesting story, when we got the new gym, we got sports. We got organized sports. Now, we had boys basketball here in the 50s. I see some, if you will, some kids here that were here ahead of me, and I still call them kids, but you know, some of us aren't kids, but that's the deal. And so we hadn't had a lot of those. At this time, we had girls' sports with uniforms. We had boys basketball, organized basketball in the mid-50s. We played, when they got the gym in the junior high, we got football. And in football, we played Solon, we played Cosgrove, Regina, ninth grade. In ninth grade, we played other little towns around. That's what we were. And in football, a couple things happened. We had no field. We practiced out in the back, 40 back here. We had no goalposts. We were the visiting team all 3 years I played here. We were called the tennis shoe gang because all these other schools had official uniforms and stuff, and they had the big spikes, and we were scared to death to play them. We had tennis shoes. They called us the tennis shoe gang. The fun thing about that, if you will, 7th, 8th, and 9th grade, they had two years worth of uniforms. They had 8th grades and 9th grades uniforms. But wait, I was in 7th grade. Well, when the 9th grade got done practice, they took off their uniform and handed it to us. And I had the distinct pleasure of wearing Jerry Villareal. He was another big guy. Wearing his uniform. Boy, his helmet was pretty squishy when I put it on my head. That's a true story. We dressed downstairs in the boys' bathroom and in the hallway. We had to wait for everybody to leave. In 9th grade, they decided, well, we're kind of overrun down here, so they moved us over. This is true. They moved us over the hill. Who remembers this? They moved us over the hill to the ice skating warming house, and we dressed outside every day for football. But guess what? We didn't care. We were playing football. We played Iowa City Central, we played Southeast, and we got the tar beat out of us. But we didn't care. We were playing sports in Coralville. And when I told you that we walked to school, remember this back then, that the streets were not paved. They were chip and seal. And so the curve, they were like this, and they had ditches, and it was a challenge. The snow removal wasn't what it is today. So when you walk to school for band practice at 7 o'clock in the morning, you're toting your big horn or whatever you're dragging with you. It was tough. And what was it both ways? Excellent, class. The class is listening, Mr. Gann. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to tell you that regardless of when you attended or when your kids attended or your relatives attended Coralville Elementary, now known as Coralville Central, good intentions of the teachers, good classes by the staff put together here by the administration, a great place to call home. In the gymnasium, we had class assemblies, all school assemblies. We had scout meetings in there. We had band concerts in there. We had 8th grade graduations. Where is Sue Harris? She has a picture of the 8th grade graduation. I'm telling you, the girls in that class look like where's Sue? Is she here? I thought I saw her in the back. She's got a picture. You got to see that picture of their 8th grade class. The girls, it looks like the high school prom. They look like $1 million. They're great. And it's a wonder. I've never seen that photo. So, Mr. Gann and everyone else associated here, thank you for your history of attending and or having kids attend Coralville Central Elementary School. This is a great place, the center of attention of all the schools in the Iowa City School District. I want you to shout out, where is the best? Coralville? There you go, Mr. Gann, you're in. Thank you.
Well, that was only, no, I wasn't timing. Thank you, Mr. Brandstetter, for that. The history lesson, it's always great to hear him talk regardless of what he's talking about. I'd sit here all day and listen to him, but we do have the show to go on. I'd like to invite the bishops up if they'd like to say a few words and about their father and Mr. Bishop.
So I think the last time I was here was for Dad's retirement party back in May, I suppose it would have been, of 1987.
Put right up your nose. Put right up.
It's on.
Okay. And so I kind of envisioned myself sitting on a old wooden stage on that side of the wall speaking that way. So this is quite a change from what I was expecting. Linda Ferguson had asked Mary if one of us would give a talk today, and Mary said, sure, Rick would be glad to. So here I am. As I tried to think of my memory of Dad's memories of school, probably the biggest memory was what he didn't say. I heard him complain about having to go to school board meetings at night. I heard him complain about having to go to school office meetings during the day, but I never heard him complain about having to come here to Coralville Central. He did have a couple of challenges. One was this was in the University Married Student Housing District. Maybe it still is. And he talked about all of the nationalities, languages, cultures, and customs that he had to try to integrate here. And the other thing I remember him talking about was all the paperwork. It seemed like each year he was having to do more and more forms and paperwork and so forth. But I'm sure that Andy would be happy to trade for all of the paperwork that he does now with what Dad had to do back then. As far as the board office school board meetings, he didn't like them, but I did. He didn't like fish sticks, and I did. So whenever there was a school board meeting, Mom would fix fish sticks for us. So I enjoyed those meetings. I can remember Mary and I coming here one day every summer to help sort school supplies. The school board apparently would buy teachers supplies back then, which I understand doesn't happen nowadays. But we would come here one day in the summer and sort out all the supplies and deliver them to the various teachers' rooms. And as I was looking at the Facebook post for this 75th anniversary, I saw a lot of names that I recognized because we had delivered supplies to your rooms 50 or 60 years ago. The minimum wage back then must have been one bottle of pop, because when we were done delivering supplies, Dad would take us down to the old boiler room and buy us a bottle of pop. And I'm probably dating myself by calling it a boiler room. I imagine now it's the geothermal heat pump room, but it was back there somewhere. One of my memories is this old man getting on his yellow bicycle and riding it to work. I'm not sure why that was so funny. My perspective has kind of changed. I don't think an old man riding a bicycle is quite as funny now as it might have been back then. I remember Mom being quite upset that day after day after day after day, all he wanted for lunch was a bologna sandwich. 2 pieces of white bread with a piece of bologna and Miracle Whip dressing. I remember at Christmas time, Mom would make a bunch of trays of cookies, candy, nut breads. She said it was for the teachers, but as much as there was, I think it must have been for the students too. Mary and I had to take one for the team because all of the cookies that were not perfectly round or were a little bit burnt around the edges stayed home and we had to eat them. I remember him telling stories about Mrs. Keys, who was the secretary at the time and had a pet duck. And every month or two he would come back with a story about something silly that the pet duck had done. I stopped by the teacher's lounge a little while ago, and it didn't smell near as good as it used to. Remember the mimeograph machines? And boy, what a great smell that was. Well, those days are behind us. Dad didn't have a lot of hobbies, so people might wonder what he did to keep busy after he retired. He and Mom liked to travel. Mary had a house that kept him busy with projects there. And not too long after he retired, my son Brian was born, and so he managed to go up to Waterloo a time or two to watch football games or softball games or orchestra concerts or whatever. Final comment I guess I would make is for his retirement, he was given a radial arm saw. And I'm happy to say that my son, his grandson, is now the proud owner of that saw making sawdust. So.
I did my speaking when I volunteered my brother to speak, but I would like to know if anyone here has an explanation for my shirt. My dad gave it to me back in the 70s or 80s. I'm sure at the time he told me who the Coralville Central Rainbows were, but it's been 40 or 50 years and I don't remember that part of it, so.
You got a trivia question then, if you got an answer?
I taught here under Stan Bishop, and he was awesome. He was awesome. And some interesting things were we had handbells. There was no automatic bell to come in. You had a bell, and you rang it like that. You remember that? You have it at home. Cool. We had to ring it. Maybe at mine, no? And Linda Ferguson, are you here? Hello, do you remember me? No, she doesn't remember me. Where is she?
Linda Ferguson.
Do you remember me? Where? I don't see you. I'm Nancy. I was Nancy Wagner. I taught 4th grade. I did an insect unit upstairs, and we made nets, and we went and collected the insects, and then we learned to kill them, in a gentle way. And then we mounted them on the board, came back the next day, they'd come back to life. And one of my students collected insects and brought them in a canning jar. And when the kids went to gym, the jar fell off the shelf. And grasshoppers were hopping all over it. And another time we had like a guinea pig or something in my room, and it got loose. And another teacher helped me catch it, but it bit her. And the custodian threw the body away. But the doctor said he had to see the body. So the custodian had to go through all the garbage to dig it out. And the doctor said it's too small, forget it. So that's my memory.
Thank you very much. Now, the next will be Mr. O'Leary.
Thank you. As I look around the room, I see a lot of people's faces and a lot of good memories right here. It's just unbelievable. I wrote down my speech because I haven't spoken in 16 years. So bear with me as I trudge along, and hopefully I won't lose my place. But these are some thoughts I've had most recently and many, many years ago. There's really no place like Coralville Central. I've worked 37 years in a lot of different districts, and there's no other school like this. It's just an amazing place. So many memories. I want to thank you for the opportunity to speak today on behalf of the school's 75th birthday. I want to thank the teachers. There's so many teachers here, and teachers who couldn't come. Faculty and staff, cooks, custodians, bus drivers, students past and present, PTO, parent volunteers, a variety of people. The city of Coralville, they jumped in many, many times. The police, fire department, rec department, administration, city council, community members, parents, and even businesses. They were a big part of Coralville Central while I was here. When I think about Coralville Central, it's about the people and the students and the many, many years where we provided a good, safe, sound education pre-kindergarten through 6th grade. We were part of the Iowa City District, I think, kinda. Some of the rules apply, some of them didn't. But many, many things we did together here at Central, I just listed this morning. We had kindergarten. Day 100 was Zero the Hero. We had fun fairs on 3 floors of this building. We started the summer reading program in '88 in Keith Jones' office. It started there through Coralville Central and Kirkwood. We had an annual Arbor Day program the last Friday in the month of April, and we planted hundreds of trees. We had an arboretum around the school here, much to the credit of David Quagg, Dan Maskell, and the staff here. We had a tree curriculum, outstanding. We have the only vivarium around. We added a real library, not just 2 classrooms, and an extra gym. Before we had the gym, Jerry, we had 8 minutes to move the lunch tables out and get lunch ready, and then we had 7.5 minutes to put them away before PE started again. We had Wacky Hair Day. We had the first school dog before there was a such thing as a therapy dog. We had an overnight in the library right after it was built. We only did it once. We had Mileage Club. We had Family Fun Run. We had Run for the Schools team. This school, even on summer reading, dared Keith Jones. He lost. He got painted. The super money man had to lay down on a table, and his entire suit was ruined by being painted. We made bird feeders in 2nd grade. We had students that became principal for the day, and cookies and milk in the office. We had a program called FAST, Families and Schools Together. We were the only school in the district that had that, but it was a long-term commitment for 6 weeks with families, food, activities. Many of the teachers in this room were a part of that, along with AEA support staff. We had the first elementary mini dance marathon with the paper dance, which you had to clean up after. Thanks to Ted and Karen, Ted our DJ and Karen. We have student council that met with the director of food service. Years ago, kids could only have chocolate milk on Friday. And so David Quagg decided to measure the amount of wasted milk. And we kept data on it, and then we met with Diane Duncan Goldsmith, and we told her how much milk was wasted and how it wasn't on Fridays. And then all of a sudden, the Iowa City District started serving chocolate milk every day. Every day. We also told her what we didn't like on the menu. We had the first school garden. It lasted for about 35 years. We started a tradition of Veterans Day assemblies. We had a variety of assemblies in the old gym with somebody called Fax Gilbert, who did some magic, and we had the Chinese acrobats, and we had some cruise ship bolo team or something. I don't know. That was a long time ago. We had a talent show that was so big, we had so much talent here that we had to do it in 2 days, not 1. We had a football field with goalposts. That didn't really have anything to do with Nate Kading, but we did have the first one. We had a tradition here, and it was much by my choosing. When I was a child, I practiced getting in trouble. And so I got sent to the principal's office a lot, quite a bit. But anyway, that was back at Hoover. And Mrs. Hudson would shake her head and say, "Mike, you're in here again." Yeah. So when I became principal, I thought, we want to change the stigma or tradition that if you get sent to the principal's office, you're not in trouble. Maybe that's something cool. Maybe it's okay. Maybe you can get a Star Award or something. So we did that. And in fact, one year we tried to get every kid sent to the office. We would often call parents at work and say, "Hey, your kid's been sent to the office." And of course, they didn't like that, but then we shared something positive. I'm 75 now. Yeah, that's right. I'm 75. It's cool. No, I'm 74. That's right. Again, I'm confused. But I kind of grew up about the same time as Coralville Central. And boy, there's just a lot of great memories. It was always important to me. I taught elementary and I loved it for 12 years. But I thought to myself, if I become a principal, I'm going to think like a teacher. I'm not going to think like an administrator, because some of these faculty meetings are so boring. They're so long. So I tried to make some changes that way. I had a wonderful opportunity to come here. There was only 295 students, but somehow we had more than that, Cheryl. And so in a last minute action, she joined Stan and David teaching 6th grade, and that's just many, many things that's happened here. We've had a super art program. We've had safety patrol, just a variety of things have happened over the years. And the real meaningful thing comes from now present contact with people like you out here. When we run into you in the community, please take a moment to thank the teachers and the faculty and staff for what they did for your child's education here. It means a whole lot more than anything else if you just recall them. Of course, because our memories kind of fade, give your name right away first so we know who you are and that you're not somebody collecting money that I owe you or whatever. But as I just sit and think about Coralville Central, yeah, there's really no place like Coralville Central.
Thank you, Mr. O'Leary. Mr. O'Leary actually hired me back in many years ago. Let's keep it that. The dates are irrelevant. The only date we need to worry about is 75 years. That's the only date. But many years ago, Mr. O'Leary did hire me as a 4th grade teacher here. So I do appreciate that connection that I have. And I also have a connection now with Miss Barb Mueller, who was the principal here then when I was also a teacher here. And then she retired. Thank you for doing that, I guess. So then I became the principal after her tenure here. So Barb, it's your turn.
I was glad to see you need glasses too. Yeah. It's a good thing. I think I'm getting the raw end of the deal here. I got at the raw end of the deal when I took this job because I had to follow Mike. And now I have to follow him, his speech. And Rex, the good news for all of you, he's a really good speaker, is Andy slipped me a note that said, cut your speech. Jerry, I want to thank you first. When I got this job, somebody said to me, I'm going to cry, I'm going to cry. It's your fault. Somebody said to me, be nice to the janitors because they will make it or break it for you. And you made it for me. I appreciate it. When I was asked to speak, I thought, ugh, what am I going to say? So we're going to pretend there's a whiteboard here or a projector, whatever they use now. And it's going to, a PowerPoint. And it's going to say moments. Most of you, when you think of moments, think of families. You'll stop crying. You think of families, and you think, oh, maybe a marriage in a family, or when your children are born. For me, some of you have joined my club, I think, of grandchildren are born. Nothing better. There's family moments, and then there's moments in life that don't have to do with family. Right there is my moment. I was a teacher in Wilton, Iowa, and I thought, you know, I got my master's. I really, really want to be an administrator. Well, Wilton, Iowa didn't want me to be an administrator. So I thought I got to step out. I've got to explore some things. So this is July. So I'm sending out applications for Davenport, Quad Cities, Iowa City. August, I get a call. And I said to my husband, he said to wear shorts for my interview. I did, I think I did wear shorts. It was a Saturday, and I remember everything about that day because it was a moment. It was one of those moments. Mike, thank you. He allowed me to follow that dream to eventually be a principal. I absolutely loved Coralville Central with my whole heart. The staff, the students, the parents. It kind of became an extended family for me. It's kind of your family because you spend more time here than you do with your family. It wasn't always perfect, not by any means, but it was always worth it. It was always worth it. I'm going to try and get it together here. Best thing about it, grad parties. I got invited to so many graduation parties from students that I had, and it's just nice. Seeing families at restaurants downtown, at Hawkeye games. And I was going to say CC today, but I know I can't do that anymore because that's an Iowa basketball icon. So I've decided to call Coralville Central CCC, the Coralville Central Connection. So we all have the Coralville Central Connection. Just a smile sometime. I don't remember names all the time, even though I'm not old. I don't remember names all the time, but it's special. It's memories again. I promise I'm almost done. Couple little funny stories. Amy, I wish Amy Lord was here. Teacher, you remember Amy? So she, and Linda too, they kept me alive in that office. Sometimes I was way too deep. And one day, I am just pacing my office. Amy, I have been looking for my glasses now for 15 minutes. 15 minutes? There they were, on my head. And she looked at me and Barb, she said, Barb, it might be one of those personal day times. Probably was. One of my favorite things when I was here was my basketball shooting. Teachers remember, once a month we shot basketballs. They shot basketballs against me. Free throws for a pizza party for their class, okay? That's why I'm still working part-time at the university now, because I'm paying for those pizza parties. But I would draw their names out. There was one class that cheated. I know they cheated every single time. They always wanted one of the students to shoot the hoops because he could beat me. So this is a student that went on to play Division I basketball. And he comes back quite a bit to Iowa City, and he always calls me. It always kind of warms my heart, but he calls me. And the first time he did that, we got together and he said, say, Mrs. MJ, did you let me win when you guys shot those hoops? I looked at her, I said, if you talk to my family, I don't even let my grandchildren win. So no, I never let you win, but I was glad that it was a memory that he carried with him from school. And school wasn't his favorite thing, but it was a memory he carried with him. So many memories. And I am so thankful for them. How many students were here when I was a principal? Oh, okay, I'm counting on you. Remember when we had the assemblies? And we had to get ready for the assembly? Okay, you're gonna say it with me, right? Yeah? 1, 2, 3, reach for the stars, be the best you can be. One last story. First question a student asked me when I came here, are you related to Michael Jordan? Thank you for the memories, and thank you for the moment.
Thanks, Miss MJ. That's brings back a lot of memories because that's when I was in my teaching part of my career and everything else, and so. And I was a perfect you were the best. That's well, Mr. O'Leary. Yeah, well, between the two of you, yes. No, thank you both very much. Well, you know what's funny quick story for me? I think we had the same interview because he was like, called me up and I answered the phone and I'm like, yeah, and I don't golf very often, but I just happened to be golfing. Well, come on in right after. I'm like, well, I got to go home. And no, just come on in. And then by the end of the interview, he's like, now, if I'd hire you, these would be your keys, and here's where your classroom might be. And so I was like, so did I get the job or not? I mean, so he had a wonderful way of interviewing. It was more of a conversation, which actually I kind of carry forward still nowadays too, is make a little less pressure when you're in that little room with somebody trying to find a job. But anyway, I'll keep my portion short here. I know we've been going on, but it's been wonderful to hear all of these things. I just wanted to mention, in my time here as the principal, now year 11, believe it or not, we've had a lot of changes. We've had the We've gotten air conditioning, believe it or not. It may not be the best here today, but we got air conditioning. We had a total remodel of the building throughout the year. So many of you that have come back for, today are like, wow, the colors have changed, the lockers have changed, all new technology and everything else. Brand new office that people are now recognizing, a new entrance, which all that stuff is great and grand and beautiful. 2 new bathrooms now at the end of the hallway. Elevators that go up and down and everything else. And so, but the one thing that has stayed constant, and I think that we've all know this, is you. It's us. It's this room. It's the Coralville Central people, the Coralville Central population. You guys are the ones that make this what it is. Okay? The years and years and years and the history and the stories that you can all tell about Coralville Central are near and dear to you and your hearts and to all of ours as well. That's why we're all here today. So I cannot thank you enough for being here, for celebrating this wonderful opportunity in this day. Just a couple more things and we'll get you going here. The way the process is going to work is it's an open house now. So you can go to the classrooms, and Jerry has signs above each classroom door that can be remembered as far as what it used to be 75 years ago. So check that out. I do want to make sure that you can stop into the cafeteria now. The old gym, there's cookies, and from the Cookie Mom, which is Amber Van Leenen, I think is the donor of that. Thank you very much for donating the cookies for today. Our PTO has water in there as well. And the 2 last things I guess I will say is, Jerry, I sure hope you're around 25 years from now, and then of course another 75 years, so we can do 100 and then 150 years, because we're sure, now that we've done it once, we kind of got our feet on the ground, but we're going to need your help, buddy, from here on out. But again, Coralville Central is the place to be. It always is, always will be. And again, it's because of all of you. Thank everybody here. I do want to sing us happy birthday. So with that being said, if we could all sing Coralville Central Elementary happy birthday. So 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Coralville Central. Happy birthday to you. Yay! And of course, many, many more ahead of us. So thank you all for coming. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon. If you don't get to see what you need to see today, please come back and visit us at any time, of course. So thank you all very, very much.